So let's see how it can go. It's live, right? Okay. This is the first time starting live for election night. So it's kind of fun. Let's see what's happening. It's live. There are very few important elections. This is the first time starting live for election night. So it's kind of fun. Let's see what's happening. And you get other stuff on. That's kind of better results. At least it's not. Better. Okay, that's a good approach. Yeah, I got some lights up, and at least now it's not reflecting on my eyes. So I think tonight is a very important night because there's so many important elections happening right now, and I'm trying to share the screen. Let's see what's happening, right? And this is the screen we're having. And let's look at what's happening in California, right? California, Prop 50. There are a lot left. Let's see what's the live results, right? And you can see there are a lot of election stuff. Yes, on Prop 50, right? Proposition 50, California ballot measures. Let's see NBC News. What's the news now? It's not reported because I'm on the East Coast, so I think they have not closed the poll yet. So let's go to Virginia. Virginia election result. And I see people are so excited. Let's look the CBS News. Wow, severe time update. So Virginia gubernatorial election, Abigail Spanberger winning, Winsome Year Sears losing. That's a big loss. It's 12.6% differences. That's huge. Think about the last election. They're kind of closer. And the event look the summary from the CBS News, right? Said Democrat Abigail Spanberger has defeated Lieutenant Governor Winsome Year Sears in the race of Virginia governor. CBS News project. The race for Lieutenant Governor is likely Democratic, and the race for State Attorney General leans Democratic. CBS News updated. That's 9:33 p.m., like 7 minutes ago. Early exit polls show economic concerns were on the minds of voters, but they cast ballots. It's key election in Virginia, New Jersey, New York City, and California. Representative Mickey Sherrill has won the governor's race in New Jersey against Republican Jack Ciattarelli. CBS News project keeping the governorship under Democratic control for a third term. Polls closed in the state 8 p.m. So it's just almost two hours ago. So New York City mayor race leans toward Democrats Zohran Mamdani, according to CBS News. Mamdani is a promising rent freezes and free bosses, and he has been leading former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who is backed by the establishment and even by President Trump. You see, a weird combination. The closely watched race is sure to fuel debate over Democrats' future going into the midterm, a year after their cross-the-board loss in 2024. That's significant, right? It's kind of lead which way the party is going to really move forward. There will be a strong debate there. California Proposition 50 would allow state legislators to redistrict before the midterm election, an effort to counter GOP-led gerrymandering in other states. CBS News polling found that supporting Prop 50 overwhelmingly side opposition to the Trump administration was a reason. Yeah, I think everybody can see that, right? And the CBS News 24/7 is streaming live election coverage throughout the night, and you can go deeper with analysis, opinion, so free press. or paramount publication. So let's go to Virginia one, right? So let's just go to Virginia one. Is there any Virginia spokesman? Let's look at the Washington Post. How did they report? So Spanberger win 12%, right? That's huge. And let's see. Let's see what do they say. Virginia elected Spanberger, the state's first female governor. That's been a while, right? According to an AP projection, she topped Republican Winston E. Sears in a historic contest that was widely being watched as a referendum. President Donald Trump's second term and a snapshot of nation's political move ahead of next year's midterm election. And let's see, for the last Virginia governor election, let's check. Virginia election, governor election, 2021, right? What's the result? So the 2021 Virginia gubernatorial election, and let's see what the difference. That's pretty slim, right? Only 2%. The current income, the current governor, Glenn Youngkin, is 1.66 million votes, and Democrat actually is 1.599 million. They're only around 2% difference. Now, the difference is huge. That's 13%, 12%. So you can see it's definitely moving to the blue side, Democratic side. That's significant. Either like Youngkin did a lousy job, or because of political shift, right? It's more shift to the Democrat side, Democrat side, and that's kind of maybe the testimony to Trump's administration's so many ad hoc policy and administrative changes everywhere, right? So that's significant, I would say. Let's look at the New Jersey, right? New Jersey governor, what's the difference last time? New Jersey governor election. How big of a difference is that? That's actually pretty close as well, right? That's and the current sitting governor Phil Murphy, 51.22%, and the Republican actually get 48%. That's the reason some Republicans feel there's a possible chance the Republican can take over the governorship in New Jersey. So what's the latest one from this year's election, right? So this New Jersey governor, that's 15%, like 14.6%. That's a significant loss for Republicans. And so you can see how everything can shifting around. It's definitely a testimony to the current administration. I think a lot come from the Trump administration. And let's see anything else. Okay. Yep. So let's see other stuff, right? And I think the New York mayor, right? That's the New York mayor, New York mayor election. Let's look at last year, 2021. Now 5 years. Last time, like Democratic Party, right? So there's no independent, and the result is different. It's huge, right? So it's around a million votes, and like 67 to 27, right? And then I think then it's really the primary is more important. Let's see who was the primary in the 2021 New York City mayor election. Let's see. That's because they are using ranking choice. So right, that's the reason they count vote round and round, try to eliminate many other people who are dying and losing. So you can see actually for the last elect 2021, the primary New York City mayor, right? Very close between the top two. It's 0.8%. It's really close, kind of, right? So, but they got around 800,000 votes. That's significant too. Okay. Basically, every candidate brought up some voter base, didn't know. That the last view basically just probably put name there, didn't do anything. But for some top 5, right? Eric Adams, Catherine Garcia, Maya Wiley, Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang is the one who actually ran for president, right, a few years ago. And Scott Stringer, Diane Morris, Raymond McGeer, and then Sean Donovan, right? So you can see that's kind of interesting watch. So let's go back. And now look at what happened now between Madani and Cuomo, right? That's a big difference. I think Cuomo probably will never catch up. He will never catch up. Yeah, that's too big to catch up. Curtis Sliwa, I think just there's no chance. Basically, that's and what else? And what else? I think we're still waiting for the polls in California to be closed, and then we see what happens. I think that can be significant as well, because there's a huge pushback on the Republican side. They're do the redistricting, basically redraw the congressional line in the middle of the census, which barely happens. The reason is that for President Trump push to get more vote from the congressional seats, right? And California is really the state have the influence, have the vote, have the population to counter the action from Texas, from Florida, and many small, tiny states. I know, right? Everybody talk about gerrymandering is bad, and unfortunately, and Republicans start the effort try to steal vote, basically, right? And then Democrats come back to fight back. It's really bad for democracy. I would say that. And democracy is a game. Every side nearly really follow the same rule, right? If one side doesn't follow the same game, and basically you couldn't really continue the game. It's a balance where everybody need to follow the same consensus, right? Otherwise, what's the point? You vote and your vote doesn't count, or if you lose, you'll call other people cheat. That's actually what's happening in a lot of third countries. They're democratic as well, right? They're democracy, but do you really believe they're democracy? Even they're voting for the president for many other seats, doesn't matter. It's really the government, right? The government, and the government is a functional government. That's people need, and both functional and then know their limit. So where they should play a role in the society, right? And I think historically, politically, and culturally, different countries have different way to govern their states, their country, and we should think about that. And where do we set the limit? Because we already try to topple other government, even democratic elected government say, oh, they're not democratic, right? Because if their foreign policy does not align with U.S. foreign policy, U.S. internal policy, or even a Twitter from certain people, I think that's just bad. The more countries, United States try to topple, change the way to try to govern, the worse we're facing, because those refugees were spread all over the world, right? How can you say you're not responsible for other countries in misery because you topple the government? You try to do a regime change, or you just bomb the country. That's a ridiculous way to think about what we can do. We have a lot of influences and the impact is barely, we got a lot of bombs, right? That's unfortunately. And then we just bomb all the country because they couldn't push back. And that's what we're seeing right now. That's not the right way to think about it. Oh, you see, okay. Mamdani wins the New York mayor election. And the Democrats keep control over New Jersey governorship and win back the Virginia governorship. That's a big win tonight for Democrats in New Jersey and Virginia. But for New York City, I think there's still some questions. Where exactly do we fall in terms of incumbent, progressive, and more moderate, right? I think that's the question we need to ask ourselves. How can we find a better government for New York City? Because there's a lot of issues there. People can see it. And the safety of the community. And that's the number one issue for a lot of people. The jobs, affordability, and there's a lot of work Madani has to do to really improve the lives for normal people in New York City. That task is tremendous. Okay, I think that basically we're done for tonight's election night watch, and we'll come back later for some other event as well. I'm very excited about the election, and congratulations to another friend actually in Virginia who that needed to come to Virginia election. So I have a friend called May Napier. Naifer, yeah, Naifer. You see, Virginia election results, right? Virginia election results, this it's not to be. This is I think 57 district. Yeah, I got a friend, May Niva or Niva, I forget. I never asked her how to pronounce her last name, unfortunately. And so May actually won the election and to be a new House of Delegates in Virginia. Congratulations. I'm very excited about her, and we definitely want to really start some movement. Like younger people, we really need to get involved. For people who in the middle, try to provide a better life for general people, we definitely want to have say in policy making. And I was fortunate to know May. I believe she will be a great legislator for Virginia. Congratulations, May. If you saw this video later, and you will see this historic moment. She's a second generation Chinese American, and she like come from background with very moderate background, and eventually she served the community and won a lot of support. So I'm so glad to see her winning tonight's election. This and tonight's live streaming. Bye-bye. Stop sharing. And this